G'day guys and welcome to Raging Rhino. So Ahsoka has arrived and I truly believe that there's going to be a lot of Disney Star Wars seals that arrive on Dave Filoni's face because of what we're going to see in this series. Now we've got a lot to get through. Of course there's the 2-episode season premiere and it goes for approximately an hour and a half if you take away the credits. So we've got a lot to get through. Now this video is only going to be episode 1. You'll see my second episode review come out not long after this video comes out, so you can catch both of those back to back. But just a quick rundown on what I truly believe that we're going to get from this Ahsoka series. We're going to see a lot of retcons, we're going to see a lot of lore jumping and a lot of lore breaking, we're going to see a lot of continuity issues, and I truly believe that we're going to see this because Dave Filoni, the hack that he is, the disloyal hack that Dave Filoni is, actually can't even keep his own continuity straight, let alone being loyal to George Lucas's Star Wars. So of course, that's all I'm going to say about this. Let's get into this first episode. Now, if you are new here, you get to see my reactions as we go through the show, a couple of my reactions, and then at the very end, you get to hear my thoughts and my review of the episode. So let's get straight into this, shall we? Now, there's just one thing that I also wanted to point out. They can't even get their own synopsis right in the actual description of what this series is about. Former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano investigates an emerging threat in a vulnerable galaxy. Former Jedi Knight? Former Jedi Knight. Did Ahsoka ever actually become a Jedi Knight? Can anyone actually answer that? Let me know in the comments below. As far as I was concerned, she left the temple before she became a knight. She's a former Jedi Padawan, but she's not a former Jedi Knight. Anyway, I just thought that that was funny that they've put in their description that she's a Jedi Knight or a former Jedi Knight. Anyway, let's get into this episode. 5 years after Return of the Jedi, this is supposed to start taking place from. The same moment as The Mandalorian taking place, when that first came out. Why are they doing a crawl like this? Why wouldn't they just... Oh my god. Already annoys me. Why wouldn't they just do the normal crawl? There you go again. Former Jedi Knight, Ahsoka Tano.
Just get RD3 to scan
How's
these
he gonna use that
imposters for
blaster?
identification.
It's like a mission that you got to do on Jedi Survivor, like a puzzle. I do want to point something out really quickly, like the fact that Ahsoka's wearing like these floppy robes. Remember when Jedi used to take off their cloak? That would make it really hard to wield lightsabers with those things flapping around and in the wind, and especially with how acrobatic Ahsoka can be. It must get pretty like distracting and annoying to have those. I don't know if you guys remember from like Clone Wars and Rebels, she was always wearing like these tight sort of clothing to, you know, so it didn't really get in the way. And now she's just constantly wearing these flappy robes that looks like she's just lives on the streets. Jesus! Look at what those droids can do!
Fulcrum, this is Home 1. Do you copy?
Did they say Fulcrum? Oh my god, Fulcrum! Hyperspace teleportation to get there? Seals, clap!
I started hearing whispers of his return, which led me to Morgan.
So how do we get a map to where he went? I'm a little confused. So this Morgan character is the character that Ahsoka fought in Mando Season 2. Now, I believe, from what I've heard, that she is a Night Sister, which now makes that fight in Mando Season 2 even more pathetic. Because as a Night Sister, she didn't use any of her magic, and of course, Ahsoka didn't use any Force abilities, and lost one of her lightsabers to her in that fight as well, which is completely pathetic. But that's besides the point. My point is, does this take place after that, or those events? Or does this take place before those events? Because from my understanding, Mando Season 1 takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. This starts 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So has that happened yet or not? Because from how I'm perceiving this is that Ahsoka did that and then captured Morgan in Mando Season 2, and then that's why she's imprisoned? Or are we yet to see the events of that scenario? Like, if anyone can actually make sense of that without, again, using headcanon, because headcanon isn't a thing. This is by the creators that create this canon and create this time period, the continuity of this. I want confirmation on whether or not this is before or after the events that we see Ahsoka in Mando Season 2. Let me know.
It's never a straight line with you Jedi, is it?
I am no Jedi. That's what you should
General,
be saying.
The Defense Council is requesting an update on the incident.
I'm not sure she'll want to help.
Why? Oh my god, what's with the music? No! They aren't doing this, are they? Oh my god. Why is Sabine acting like this? Oh, badass bitch. What the fuck is that? Oh, look, her helmet. Ah! Ah! Oh my god!
We're not really family, but you're like a sister to me.
Oh, bullshit. What happened to the
know
love
your fight
interest
isn't
between
over.
those two in Rebels?
And now I won't be there to...
Bullshit. Why is she wearing a Padawan braid? I just got a lot of questions.
The Night Sisters of Dathomir.
So she is a Night Sister. So once again, it makes that fight in Mando Season 2 even fucking worse.
Ahsoka Tano's former apprentice is on the Thal. You're looking for Sabine Wren.
What? What? How does that work? How does that work? How is Sabine Ahsoka's former apprentice? They never had any interactions. This is the thing that didn't make sense to me from the trailers in regards to why Ahsoka thinks that Sabine is like hot-headed or whatever it is that the term that she uses, which I'm sure will come up shortly because all we're seeing is stuff from the trailers. But they were, and even in the trailers, Ahsoka says that she walked away from Sabine. That never happened. I don't know where that happened. Can somebody explain to me what episode, in what season of Rebels, Ahsoka walks away from Sabine and then realizes that she's insufferable or whatever the terminology is that she uses? Former apprentice. Jeez, the dialogue is fucking clunky as.
You never made things easy for me, Master.
Oh my god, what? She's gonna take it anyway. Another Jedi
Master and
survivor.
apprentice.
Oh, they're definitely pushing that Sabine's gonna be
Thank you,
force
VA.
sensitive. Here comes the retcon.
Then you're going to want to hear.
She's gone. If that's not a callback to Darth Maul, I don't know what is.
She's still just as stubborn and bullish as ever.
Stubborn and bullish, that's what I was looking for earlier. She's stubborn and bullish as ever. Since when, Ahsoka, have you ever noticed that Sabine is stubborn and bullish? What kind of interactions did you guys have? Every time that Ahsoka went to the Rebels, these guys went to the Ghost, it was all to see Ezra and Kanan on Jedi business. I don't know when they actually had an interaction. Now, it's been a while since I've watched Rebels, so I could just be blanking on it. So again, let me know in the comments below if you know what she's talking about. What she's talking about. What interactions did Ahsoka and Sabine ever have for this to actually be how Ahsoka thinks or feels towards Sabine?
Anakin never got to finish my training.
Yeah, so you're not a Jedi Knight.
Before the end of the Clone Wars, I
never
walked away
were.
from him. Just like I walked away from Sabine.
Yeah, which isn't true. Oh, that's so many questions. Dave Filoni, you absolute hack. Destroying his own cannon. Oh, it's like a Rubik's Cube in space. She just punched a droid in the face. She did. Oh, wow. See how good the choreography is, shall we? Okay, I just gotta point something out. Like, I hate the sparks. The sparks really annoys me. It's fine when the droids are using those spears that they use going up against a lightsaber. But when you see those sparks, when you see the sparks like that with two lightsabers when they hit each other or when they're locked together, that is a Disney Star Wars additive that I don't really understand. Could you imagine those sparks coming at your face? Like, look how close her face is to her lightsaber there. It's so pathetic. Kill her. Force choke her. Push her. You've got the Force, use it. Why is the Force user not using the Force against a non-Force user? This fight should be over already. Now, I do want to point out that I do believe that Sabine could go toe-to-toe with another lightsaber, but when you're against somebody that can actually use the Force, like Force push, Force choke, something like that, this fight should already be over. It should be done by now. Again, Sabine was trained by Kanan to use a lightsaber, but it still doesn't justify this Force user not using the Force. Fucking kill her. Hey! Surely. She dead. She's dead. Dead. Fucking dead. Is that it? That's it. Okay, so again, I've got you basically saw my reactions. I gave you my thoughts on a lot of those things. I think that the opening scene actually felt very Star Trek-y to me. But anyway, again, it's one of those things where it's sort of fine on the surface, I guess, if you're just wanting flashy shit like Star Wars references and Rebels references. And I'll tell you what, if you're one of those people out there that hasn't watched Rebels and you're watching this and you're trying to make sense of it, it will make no sense to you. The problem is, for those people out there that have watched the Rebels and then go and watch this, it's not going to make any sense to you either, because Dave Filoni is the continuity destroyer, because he can't even keep his own continuity in check. It's like what I was saying about the way that Ahsoka talks about Sabine and how apparently Sabine was her apprentice. It's kind of a little bit ridiculous to me to think that that ever happened in the Rebels series at all. I don't understand, like, Sabine and her smirkness and not obviously wanting to be at this presentation because what? Ezra's not there? Because there are other people that aren't there getting the accolades of saving their planet? You know, I thought that by the end of the Rebels series, even the way that Sabine is narrating the end of the Rebels series, she sounds very content with what had happened. Obviously, Ezra asks her to come and find him, also asks Ahsoka to come and find him when they obviously get a chance, but she just seems really out of character for me, based on where we were at the end of Rebels. Now, obviously, this is apparently supposed to be taking place 5 years after the Rebels, 5 years after Return of the Jedi, I guess. Again, you get a lot of the Easter eggs, a lot of the references. You're going to see a lot of the seals clapping and stuff like that. It's revealed that she is a Night Sister, which I mentioned in my thoughts as we were going through, in my reactions, that it definitely makes the fight in Mando Season 2 between her and Ahsoka even more pathetic. That Ahsoka, first of all, didn't use any Force abilities, I thought was stupid. And before we even knew that she was a Night Sister, you know, disarming Ahsoka of one of her lightsabers. But now the fact that we've got a witch that didn't use any of her green magic, I think is quite ridiculous and pathetic, to be honest with you. Now, I have a thought. I have a prediction on who I actually think this Inquisitor character is. Now, I don't know how long the Inquisitors lasted for. Obviously, the Emperor and the Empire is supposed to be dead. We're supposed to be dealing with, like, the remnants of the Empire. Of course, the Emperor Palpatine isn't actually dead, because if you look at the sequel trilogy, he is very much alive and, of course, takes away from Anakin's sacrifice. However, I have a prediction about this Inquisitor. I actually think that there's a very good chance that this could be Ezra. Now, we're yet to hear him speak, or he or she, we don't know. We're yet to see him or her speak or anything like that. I'm anticipating we're going to get that trailer scene in the next episode where Ahsoka is fighting him. But we'll have to wait and see. We might not even hear him speak in that. So I'm predicting that this character here is Ezra. And somehow Thrawn manipulated him, sent him back, and said like that for some reason Thrawn maybe wasn't able to come with him, and sent him back to basically try and get Thrawn back. Yeah, I'm just predicting that. I'm you know, again, we'll have to wait and see. And then obviously we get this conversation and everything, and it seems very like, even when they're sitting down on this table and they're going through it and they start having this conversation, it's like, I'll say a line, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you say a line, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I say a line, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very, like, distracting, I guess would be the word. Very distracting. Obviously, like I said, I've got my problems with the continuity issues that we see throughout this anyway. And Sabine, of course, being Sabine, just takes the map and goes and runs without even saying anything. Like I said, this reminded me of Darth Maul a little bit. And Ahsoka obviously ends up figuring out the map. And this is where Ahsoka's talking to Hera again about how Sabine is the way she is, and you know, that Ahsoka walked away from Sabine. Again, I want to just ask everybody that watches this, when? When did any of that happen? When was Sabine Ahsoka's apprentice? When did Sabine and Ahsoka have interactions that would make Ahsoka think she's as stubborn as ever and bullish? And why would Ahsoka say that she walked away from Sabine? When did she walk away from Sabine? My understanding is that Sabine thinks Ahsoka is dead and died at the end of Rebels Season 2, and then when Ezra saves her in Season 1, I'm not too sure if Ezra ever had any time to tell Sabine that Ahsoka survived, but then Ahsoka shows up at the end of Rebels Season 4, like the end of the Rebels, right? So again, Sabine figures it out, and just as she figures it out, of course, the droids come after her. The fight ensues, and like I said, there should be, hey, the one freeze frame that we get without any sparks. Sabine, like I said, Sabine would be able to go toe-to-toe for a little while with somebody just using a lightsaber. In, let's say, just a sword fight. But when she's going up against somebody that is force sensitive, can choke, push, pull, all of that sort of thing, this fight, honestly, should have been over very quickly. I will say it was reasonably well choreographed. I didn't really see too many issues with the actual fight in regards to the choreography of it. But again, it should go nowhere near as long. And then, of course, Sabine gets stabbed. Look at that. She gets run through. Now, look, if she survives this, it's just another person. This is Dave Filoni, your savior of Star Wars, right? We do the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Reva gets stabbed through twice and survived. Everybody's just getting stabbed and shot like Fennec Shan with a blaster, and they just install droid parts. It's okay. Sabine should be dead after this. And I'm guessing that the beginning of episode 2 is going to be Sabine like recovery mode, right? Surviving a stabbing, running through of a lightsaber like that. That should cauterize the wound. She should have a hole in her stomach if she survives for the rest of her life. But she shouldn't survive. They've taken away how deadly a lightsaber can be and should be, and is. In real Star Wars, she's dead. Dead. But I very much doubt that they're going to actually kill her in the very first episode. Especially this character that they're building up to be now force sensitive, which we'll have to wait and see whether or not that actually becomes a thing. Based on the fact that these two faced off in this episode, the opening episode, I have a feeling that she's going to go off with Ahsoka, get some Jedi training, because nobody sensed any force abilities with her, especially when she was training with Kanan, and by the end of this season, Sabine is going to be force sensitive. And maybe go toe-to-toe with this character again, and beat her this time. But you know what I think is even more interesting? Is that they will make Sabine Force sensitive, and then by the end of the season, that character that I think is Ezra is going to go toe-to-toe with her and reveal that it's Ezra and try and turn her to the dark side or whatever side these people are on. Are they trying to introduce Grey Jedi, another Disney Star Wars ridiculous theory? So there you go. There you go. Sabine is pretty much, should be dead by the end of this episode. So that's my thoughts on this episode. There are a lot of problems with it. A lot of problems. I will say even the explosion at the very beginning when Ahsoka's fighting those droids, fucking like a nuclear bomb goes off. From 3 droids self-destructing. Jesus Christ. You know, being that it's Disney Star Wars, just like the droid in The Mandalorian that blew himself up, they'll probably end up bringing these 3 droids back. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this episode. We do have to get right into episode 2. Let me know your thoughts about episode 1 in the comments below and everything that I've mentioned. If you can answer my questions in regards to those Rebels episodes, please let me know. I will check them out. I will check them out to see how the continuity of their connection between Sabine and Ahsoka actually is in the Rebels series and whether or not the dialogue that they're giving us actually makes any sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see ya in the very next video for episode 2. Later, guys.